Hey, this is Horace Towns, host of the Black Super Friends podcast. Welcome to the Real. Where the money reside, where the money reside, where the money reside, where the money reside. Oh, welcome to another episode of the Black Super Friends podcast. I am your host, D. Horace Towns, joined by my three best friends that you know around the world as the Black Super Friends. First off, I'm going to my friend on the side of me who gives himself the title, the Ladies Man. You know him, you love him, the Ladies Man.
What's going on, guys? What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Black Super Friends podcast.
All right. I like Ladies Man 561. Ladies Man just is like
It's
Ladies
good
Man
for you.
International.
I might have to add that on to the end. You might be on to something.
I'm a creator. And then I'm going to my partner at the bottom who is wearing the latest apparel from the Black Super Friends. He's always fashionable. I'm going to go to the man that we know as Chris, the international, phenomenal, amazing Leo.
Man, you had me at amazing. I'd like to say thank you for joining us today. Football season is over. Mondays belong to us again. No more Monday Night Football. You're here with us, and we're glad to have you. And always remember, Kings live forever.
All right. I'm going remotely to one of my best friends. He is the father of Super Mario Jr. His name is Super Mario Sr. Please say the senior.
Hey, good afternoon out there in TV land. I'm happy you're here with us.
I bet you are. I always got to shout out Super Mario Jr., one of my favorite people. Well, Mario, this week, you don't know the joy that's in my heart right now. You don't know. Man, my testimony next week, my pastor is going to be sitting there ready to give a testimony. If this don't fire him up, they told him he was old, he was washed up. They told him he couldn't do a lot of things. And yet, my friend, Tom Brady, I left Boston to go with my friend. And he did it again. But we're going to watch the highlights because it's only right.
Brady's pass. It's Gronkowski. Back again. The biggest tandem for touchdowns now in postseason history. Brady play action. Looking. Third option. End zone. Caught. Gronkowski again with the touchdown. There's the fake. There's the pass. And there's the catch for the touchdown. Antonio Brown. Fournette, touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Well, guys, I would just say that I'm choked up, but the inspiration that I received today has been more empowering. I didn't ask for a lot. I said, God, we need it one more time, and it happened. But someone this week wanted us all to do some group exercises, and we all predicted the NFL Super Bowl results. And I want to go live to Chris Leo, who came up with the idea, and I really want to get your thoughts on number 7.
Well, okay. I am conflicted about this Super Bowl. First of all, I haven't watched the Super Bowl in 4 years, and I decided to watch this one. I've been hearing so much about Patrick Mahomes, but I've never actually seen a game of his, like in its entirety. I just, just highlights and things like that. The Super Bowl was in Tampa. I'm a Floridian, so I'm going to support the home team. But this was very conflicting as a lifelong Tom Brady hater. This was one of the toughest things I had to do because I rooted for Tampa Bay simply because of the coaching staff. Shout out to Bruce Arians for hiring such a diverse coaching staff and all those black men. So I support those black men all the way. I got homies in St. Pete and Tampa, so much respect for that. And like I said, I'm a Floridian, but it just didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right to me. Look, I've been saying this forever. I think Joe Montana is the best quarterback ever. I think there's something to be said about a guy that's never lost the Super Bowl compared to a guy that has. But this was a phenomenal, phenomenal feat, and I have to take my hats off to Tom Brady. But I was disappointed. To be honest with you, I was disappointed. I think Kansas City flew all the way from Kansas City to Tampa to kick 3 field goals. That's it. That to me, I cannot understand how the hell. Oh, shout out to John Hollenberg, Big John. He's been a Tampa Bay fan from the get up, so I respect that. But yeah, I thought Kansas City let me down. Them boys stayed in the backfield. I didn't even see a blitz call the whole game because the front four was getting so much pressure. But yeah, I still think Joe Montana is the best. But if someone say that Brady is the GOAT, I will not argue with him. How about that? Is that a happy medium, Horace?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Listen, man. Respect to Bruce Arians. When we left Boston last year, man, I really said, Tom, is what you want to do. And we left. We came back home to Florida. So I want to say respect to Bruce Arians, who, I mean, if you look at his coaching staff, man, I have a new respect for him. I wasn't a big fan of his, but to see them be such a major piece of that recipe, the defensive stunts were amazing, but it still takes athletes to execute. And let's be honest, they played a game. Both teams had 2 weeks to prepare, and one side didn't look like they had prepared enough. But everyone has to, whether you like them or not. It's similar to what's his name, Larry Bird. I hated Larry Bird, and guess what happened? Ended up falling in love with him. Tom Brady has won championships in 3 decades: 2000, the 2010s, the 2020s. It sounds like a Cash Money intro. I think we spend so much time comparing athletes that we don't really enjoy, whether it's Jordan, LeBron, whether it's Brady, Mahomes, which I thought was unfair. And I'm thinking that having home field advantage actually did have a factor in the end. So they were the first team to play at home, so I got to big up to that. But again, to Tom Brady to make it to 7, 20 years, 10 Super Bowl appearances, to win 7, man, you just got to take your hat off. Like, that is not an easy feat at all. So I just like the fact that we can watch a Tom Brady, a Steph Curry, Michael Jordan. Like, we've been able to watch some greatness, and I enjoy it. Whether he won or lost, I had respect for Brady for even making it there when people were telling him that he couldn't do it. Mario.
Well, I'm a fan. Thank you, Tony. I'm a fan of the greatest team in the world, especially America. It's America's own team. America has a team, and if we ever had to play international ball, it'll be the Dallas Cowboys. Let's note that. That is America's team. But I ain't gonna not lie. When I was young and a young lad, I was so happy to be a Cowboy, just so overwhelmed. And the last couple of years, I've been on a drought. Let's just say that. And over the years, I've seen Tom Brady dominate the league. Because let's just be realistic. To get to the Super Bowl one time is amazing. It's amazing. That's a gauntlet that you got to go through. To get there 10 times is incredible. To go 7 out of 10 is this is like godlike. So when I have to say, when I look at the game of football and all it brings to us and the degree of difficulty, it's like, man, I got to see Jordan. Like Horace is saying, I got to see Jordan. Like, a lot of people talk about Jordan, but they never really seen him play. That feeling in your chest when you feel like if you give Mike the ball at the end, he's gonna win. I don't care who he's sticking or who's sticking him. That's the way, I hate to say it, I feel about Tom Brady. Because when they asked me who am I going to bet on, because I'm a gambling man, I had to go with Tom. But let's just bring in some facts. Patrick Mahomes walked into this game with 2 hurt linemen, offense that was almost one-dimensional because he had 2 wide receivers that they shadowed. And then that's what we got to give. And because of that, we seen that on display because we have to give credit to Todd Bowles. That defense in Tampa Bay was flying around. He had a plan. Stop Tariq and Kelsey from doing anything and rush the passer. And that worked all game. They were flustered from the beginning. They didn't know what to do. No matter what they put him in, they sent him in motion, Tariq in motion. They tried to do quick hitch plays across the middle. They sent Kelsey across the middle. No matter what they did, they was all over him. And I was like, man, this man is coaching an amazing game. Don't get me wrong, Tom was amazing. And I felt like this is when he shows up the best. But let's just be realistic before I hand it off to Zay. Tom went through Sean Payton, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Mahomes. Come on now. Like, if that's not that's 3 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now. And Drew Brees, I'm sorry, I said Sean Payton, Drew Brees. You know what I'm saying? And when you're thinking about that, you're like, man, this man did that and then blowed out the Kansas City Chiefs because he blew them out. They did not score a touchdown. That was an amazing game to see. And I stay right now where the money resides. Go ahead, Zay.
I don't know about amazing game, but, it was a game. One of the things I looked at as an avid Dolphins fan is that I don't like Tom Brady. I don't like him for a number of reasons, but it's okay. I did state that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs would win because I went Black Power and they let me down. It's okay. I can now say that Tom Brady, Tudor, is the GOAT because he did exactly what he was supposed to do. To be honest to you, after the halftime, I just stopped watching it because I felt like that was just not what you're going to use to beat Tom Brady. You just can't keep making bonehead play after bonehead play and expect to beat Brady. It's not going to happen. And as you said, he's been to the big dance several times. And when I saw him kick into motion, I said, they done messed up. I turned the TV off. It's no longer a game. So blowout, yeah, he did that. So as a man, but I will say this, I'm not dumb enough to bet against Tom Brady. And I am a diehard Florida man to the bone gristle. So in my heart, I was like Tampa Bay win it, but I just couldn't bring my mouth to say Tom Brady. Just wasn't going to happen. So, Tudor, you got it.
All right, Zay. Hey, you picked KC to win over the Bucks?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
You look like your 30s.
Compliments to Tom.
Did we license this from the NFL?
He did.
Yeah.
Letter in the mail.
He gonna get
Tom
fired.
sent that to me. He's my friend. You don't have friends. You don't have friends like
Listen, there goes our sponsor. Thanks, Horace.
Yeah, you ain't heard the sponsor yet. That they here. Listen, guys, this week, man, I hear echoes. Hey, guys, listen, this week, last week, Donald Trump gave a lot of pardons, and a few of those were people that a lot of people were surprised that he gave those pardons to. One was Kodak Black, a Miami rapper, a young man that, is part of the culture in Miami. And I'm trying to figure out how to present this to y'all because just like Gucci Mane, when Gucci Mane got out of jail, everybody was saying he was cloned. He was a different person. That wasn't a real Gucci Mane. So now that Kodak, who after had a volatile stint in jail, was pardoned, he's out, he's free. He's lost weight like most people that do jail time. And now that he's not acting out or being the person that I guess they're trying to make him out to be or act a fool, now everyone's questioning, is he valid? Oh, is Kodak a clone? Why is Kodak acting like this? And why is he acting like that? And I'm like, the man just got out of jail. Second of all, he's a young man. So who knows what thoughts are going through his mind. But if you take the time to read the other comments, you'll see where he's donating to people going to college. He's donating money for various charities and whatnot. So my question to you guys were, and I want to make sure I get it right because I don't want to mess up that question. To have it just right. Why are people giving Kodak a hard time about being silent and non-reckless, claiming Kodak is clone? So I'm gonna go to Mario first. What's your thoughts on Kodak?
Well, I do want to say welcome home, Kodak, and I'm praying that you take advantage of this second chance or third chance or however chance it is. I'm just hope that you take advantage of it. And right now, when I first looked at him, I was like, man, that's a lot to be taken out. You walk out the gates, you just thought you was gonna have to do 3 years. You asked the president that everybody said don't like black people for a pardon as a long shot, and then you actually got it, and you came home. And as soon as you come home, the first thing you got to do is go get in everybody's face, perform, and then as soon as you turn on the internet, all you hear is negative stuff. Well, not all you hear, but a lot of negative stuff and accusations and everything. And I noticed this. The first thing they did is bring up, he's not out the woods yet. He still has another case. It's like, bro, I just got home. So then when he didn't say nothing the first day or so when he got out, it was like everybody was waiting. But then it's like America's, it's like they say, like Tupac said, like we like to eat our own children. It's like I don't understand, like what do we do? Right now, Kodak gets out, he starts to look, just the couple of days I've seen him, like he's moving with a lot of security. He's walking in places, going right out. He's not hanging. He's being more reserved. He's thinking. And the first thing people do is talk bad about him. And I think it's because people like to root for the bad guy. America loves the bad guy. They love somebody who's going to come up, tear stuff up, destroy stuff until it actually hurts somebody. And then they love to point the fingers and throw them away. It's the gift and the curse. The same thing that made Kodak famous, I think going to be the same thing that's going to hurt his career, because right now he's growing up. I think that year actually did a little bit for him. And it made him look at life like, man, all this can be over. Because this time in jail, he went through a lot. If you followed it from the beginning, he was getting beat by guards. He was not getting fed right. He was getting abused. So if anybody's been to jail, I hope most of our viewers haven't. But you understand, that's not a place that I wish no man to ever enter. So when you go into those gates and you get out and say, man, I got the alley-oop of a lifetime. One of the worst so-called presidents for black people freed me for no reason, when I had no validity to. I asked him, he said yes, and I'm out. So now as he's walking life, the same fans that was free Kodak are the same ones, man, this ain't Kodak. This can't be him, because they want him to get out and do the same shit to put him back in there. And I'm just going to say, if he's listening, because he probably is, because I'm pretty sure that his lawyer told him to watch such a distinguished show as ours to keep his head straight. Kodak, do not let the crowd pull you back in, my brother. It's a reason why you out, and God is that reason. So keep following him, and you believe in yourself, and do what you need to do. I'm going to toss it on over to Zay.
Well, I'm gonna make sure you hear it, because we plugged in, so I'm gonna put his cousin on it, and he gonna definitely deliver that message. So you good. I'm gonna correct you, Horace, because it's exit 36. That's Pompano. That's not Miami, and I don't want them boys to get upset with us, because they deserve their respect. I think it's really ludicrous the way how people are coming at that man. That man did a stint in prison. Like I said, I've never had to do one, but I know there's not a place I would ever want to be. And he came out and he's showing poise. He's showing that he's matured some, and that y'all not going to trick me again. Like you said, Mario, you named a list of facts that is true. Like this stint, I heard Gucci, man, when he got out, say that he never wanted to go back to that place again. And from my understanding, him and Kodak have a very tight relationship. So he may have been pouring into him. And as you said, Horace, the man has been doing phenomenal things off the radar. But as we all know, gangsters move in silence. They don't move with a lot of noise. So he's paid for schooling for individuals. He's responded back to fans that wrote to him while he was locked up, and he responded to them while performing and giving them that showing them that they mean something to him, as if they meant to him, or excuse me, or as they meant to them, or as he meant to them, I'm sorry, while he was locked up. That's gratitude. That to me is showing growth. That's showing a grown man. And I'm over all the clone talk that people have. Every time someone goes to jail and refine themselves and come out and is not being ignorant or showing that they've worked on their mental or worked on their physical, that can't be them. And like you said, don't eat your children. You know what I'm saying? America eats their children. Tupac said it. But I think that he actually took another page out of Tupac's book, which is plan, plot, and strategize. So I like the poise in which he came out with. I believe that he does have something in store for the fans and the naysayers, and only time will tell. But Kodak, glad you home. Prove him wrong. What you got?
Well, I was gonna say, just to back up Mario, the fact is, when he got out, the first thing that happened was someone was like, they wanted to present a new case. It was an old case. It was a case they could have tried while he was in jail, even before jail. And the fact that shows how blatant they target black males, and especially celebrity black males. Chris knows the rap police is a real thing. You know what I mean? Like what we know, that's a real thing. So as soon as he get out, oh, he's not out the woods. And I was happy that I seen on one political show where a Caucasian defender said, like, no, we're not gonna do that. That's sad. Like to pursue someone after they just got pardoned and bring up old charges shows the hypocrisy and the racism that a lot of black males face in this country. I will say Kodak is just like any young man that's growing up in you know, he's still trying to figure out life, still trying to figure out who he is, and then he's thrown into jail. You know, a man with money trying to figure out who his real friends are, you know, might even feel like, why is it happening to him? Sometimes we don't see our own ignorance, or we don't see some of the things we're doing. So I was going to say that to anybody, young men, when we young, you giving us money does not help. That doesn't help. That's anybody. If someone's broken or whatnot, all it does is amplify, you know, what they got going on. You're giving me more tools to find vices to get in trouble with. So I wanted to say to Kodak, keep your head up, man. And it's sad that, like most people, most celebrities, they find out that fame and money, after a while, it makes you not want either one of them. You know what I mean? Because it ends up being more of a headache than a blessing. So, Chris Leo.
Well, first I want to say welcome home. I'm glad for any man, especially non-violent offenders, to be home. You know, the justice system doesn't work for us, but I think what we got to come to a realization of as black men, that we can. I think Chris Rock said it. We don't get conventional love. I mean, we don't get unconditional love. All our love comes with conditions, and that's from everybody, even our women. That's just how it is. I think that what happens is we either have to make them money, give them money, or entertain them. And if we're not doing one of those three, no one sees value in us. So what happens is he gets out of jail after doing this stint in jail, like Hardy spoke about. We learned that he was having a rough time with guards and malnutrition and all that other stuff like that. As soon as he get out of jail, they like, dance monkey, rap for us, act stupid, entertain us, make us some money. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. So when that happens, it's like, this is just how the world sees us. You know, so I'm but what hurt me the most is the people that's saying these things. Like, true gangsters, when you get out, they're going to try to lead you in the right direction. They're going to tell you, hey, man, chill out, young blood. Just continue to keep your head on straight and move forward. They're not going to try to entice you to get back into that situation. It'd be the people that ain't never went to jail, ain't never did none of the time, ain't never did none of the crimes, they never had to live in those situations, telling him, trying to influence him to do something to get him back in that place. I know about being locked up. I've been locked up, and it's not fun. And when you get out of those situations, if you take that time where you have to pause and think, it makes you think that, look, I don't never want to be back into those in that situation. And for people that never had to live like that, never lived this gangster shit at all, to speak on that, that's the part that disrupts me the most. Just, who are you to speak on this? Who are you to? You don't know what that man been through. You don't know how this life is. So that's the part that hurts, that disturbs me the most. Just the quality of people that's talk about him and want him to do these ignorant things and want him to be back in prison. You never been there. You don't have no idea how this is, man. But welcome home, my brother. Keep your head on straight.
All right, guys. Next, I want to go to Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon. Listen, we all know Nick Cannon. He's been the host of many shows. He's the husband of Mariah Carey. He's a notable guy, a young man that has made a lot of money for himself. However, a couple months ago, almost close to a year, he made some comments while on a podcast being interviewed. And he made some comments that the Jewish coalition felt were anti-Semitic. We're going to get into anti-Semitic later on, but that was the issue. So after he made those comments, outrage came, and I guess in fear of not apologizing, I know the timeline, in fear of being fired, he went quickly to apologize and confess his ignorance of the culture. And I'm apologizing for the comments I made. I didn't know I hurt so many people and destroyed so many lives. And after he did all that, they fired him from a show that he created from bone to bone, from beginning to end. The sad realization of that is the thing that we learned from him. We own our show. So I have no problem talking about this today because Nick Cannon and Wild 'N Out, after being on the air for over a decade, had no ownership of the show, not even down to the trademark. And when he was fired, he had no access to that show. Now, I will highlight that there was some deals that were offered for him. There were some people that interceded, like Puff Daddy, to try to keep the show going. But to no avail, Nick Cannon stuck to his guns and took the route of apologizing. So now, after months of what I will share later, he has made an apology again, and Nick Cannon and Viacom have came up to an agreement that allows him to return as the host of Wild 'N Out. Not the owner, not a partner, but the owner, the host, meaning I'm coming back to work of the show Wild 'N Out that employed so many great comedians, new comedians, and he really created revenue streams for people like Carlos Miller, Chico Bean, and many others. So my question to you, my guys, and I want to always make sure I film it up right. I just want to know, what were y'all thoughts on that? Because we can speak freely, and this is something that we've been kind of dancing around, but I was kind of disappointed, but I'll share my thoughts on it. But I'm going to go to Mario first.
I kind of studied this a while because I thought I followed Nick Cannon and his accomplishments in business. You know what I'm saying? A lot. It's like, man, this man is from somebody who just came in, who didn't, who was looked at, played in the drum movie, Drumline, who just really took off and became likable to a lot of people and really start invoking his presence into the business aspect of acting and movies and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I was under the assumption that Nick Cannon had a lot of ownership because he spoke about it, he talked about it, he preached it. He was actually one of the forefront voices of a whole movement of be black owned, buy the block. Like, we got to understand who we are. Like, don't be suckers to the white man. Like, don't succumb to their oppression. Be ourselves, brothers. We got to stick. His message was riveting at so many points and so much stuff he said that kind of motivated me. You know what I'm saying? When I was looking at, should I be an entrepreneur or not? You know what I'm saying? Like, man, this man saying is real. He's around my age, and I'm seeing him put his foot to the metal and do it until this happened. And then I was like, man, I was so shocked when it happened because I found out he didn't own Wild 'N Out. But I was like, it was an idea, and maybe he got taken advantage of because, like my brother Chris, I'm not quick to judge or to ridicule a black man because I understand how hard it is by me being a black man. So I didn't want to throw him under the bus. So I studied and like, man, it seemed a little crazy, but you did. But then I watched him go stand on his word for a day or so and then apologize. And then I seen him apologize again. And then I see him go on a tour of apologies. And then I seen him go to conferences and go to like self-help groups with rabbis and stuff. Like, he had just cut loose and murdered Jews all around the world. He was a part of he just some kind of way immortalized Hitler or something like that. Like, he did something. Well, let me bring y'all back to one point on this subject. Let's be clear on what Nick did. Nick had Professor Griff on from Public Enemy, a very controversial guy who stands on what he says about who the true black Jews are and who black people are from the motherland. That's his belief. That's what he stands on. Him and Nick on Cannon's class was having a conversation. If you ever follow Cannon's class, he gets into a deep thought in conversation with the people and challenged them on a lot of their views. So Nick was actually challenging him. Professor Griff actually painted him into a corner and laid everything out, so much so that Nick had to agree. So he did not actually come at Jews. He agreed what Professor Griff was saying, and when he began to talk about Farrakhan, Nick spoke about his love for Farrakhan and how he idolized him. Since we also know the Jews hate Farrakhan, this was just a ball of fire balling up on them. So they did what they did because they're the heads of the cancel culture. They canceled him. And at that point in time, I'm like, dang, okay, Nick, because you know you got to stand for something. Because everybody talking it, but when something gets snatched from you, that's who defines a man. So then as soon as it gets snatched from him, I see Brother Puffy reach out. Hey, brother, we don't need them. Come to me. I'm rich. You rich. We don't need them. For some reason, we don't know, or I don't know. He turned that down or that didn't work out. And all of a sudden, I see that tour that I was talking about. And I was like, man, I follow Dr. Boris Walkers, not to go on and on. But I this whole point just kind of aggravated me. I follow Dr. Boris Walkers because I'm intrigued about finances and I think he's brilliant. So if I'm going to follow somebody about money, I want to follow a black man who understands me and how do I get money. And he was saying this, when Ice Cube speaks so freely because of the position he is financially. And I was like, damn, well, all our millionaires know, but Ice Cube is not a person who's asking for a job. So when they tried to cancel him for his letters and everybody tried to say this about him and Biden, all you can do is talk about Cube. Because you know why? Cube was never going to ask another man for a job. Cube was the one who was giving out jobs. So now I began to think of how important it was to have ownership. And I thought about my good brother Horace and how he was like, bro, when we start this show, I want to make sure that we own. So we police ourselves. So we tell ourselves what we can say and what we can't say. And I'm going to say, not to go out around the world, if y'all take anything from the Nick Cannon situation, I'm not telling you to quit your job because entrepreneur is not for anything. But I'm telling you to grab something that you love, something that's dear to you. Get ownership in it so that you can't be dicked around out here in the public and being buck broken by anybody on the other side of your color skin who feels like you're getting too big, bloated, or just a big person out here and say, shut him up, stop him right now, and you have to tuck your tail and run back and say, I'm sorry, and go back. So ownership, ownership, ownership. Be your own boss of something. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a sock company. Own something so you can have a voice. I'm going to go to Chris. Sorry for being long.
Well, for me, I started to research this situation, and I honestly I stopped because I hate to see black men portrayed in a weak way. And I was hearing about the apology tour. I was hearing about the classes that he had to take as if he, like he's like resurrected Hitler or anything like that, something like that. But I just what really made me stop was the association with buck breaking. I don't know if people understand what buck breaking is when slave owners either enlisted or did it themselves, publicly embarrassed slaves, where they would tar them, and just kill them in front of other slaves to invoke fear into the other slaves. And some of them was emasculated men by actually having sex with them. So I'm cautious about making the correlation between those two. And that was something that I felt like, okay, well, I'm going to back up off of this one, because at the end of the day, I don't know what I like to show grace to that man. I don't know what he was going through. He employed a lot of people. I don't know what those people, the calls that he was receiving from those people. He gave a lot of people a big platform to showcase their talents. So I'm pretty sure, as a man, as a provider, like us black men are, he felt a responsibility to those guys. So my hope is he was willing to sacrifice his pride and his public image to put other black comedians on and put other people on, and he willing to take the blunt of that. So for me, I'm hoping that that's what it was. I'm hoping that it wasn't just about a check. I'm hoping it wasn't about a job, just a job. I'm hoping that he had a greater purpose in this to help people, because that's what I see from black men a lot. We willing to sacrifice everything to help our people. So that's what I'm hoping. And I just want to give the man some mercy. I'm not going to, clown him. But yes, the message in this is ownership. Yeah, that's what I got. Horace, what you think?
Listen, I don't know if it's about I don't know if it's about Nick. I don't know if it's about Nick or my anger about us being bullied, because the situation, all the time I've seen somebody, we make a comment. You can say the N-word, you can say anything you want about black people, right? But when it comes to us, you can't make a comment about the LGBT community. Y'all can't make a comment about the Jewish community. But it seems like when it comes to us, we treat it like prisoners of war. We keep listen, that situation with Nick was probably bothered me, because I understand the heart of you saying I employ X amount of people, right? But at the same time, like tomorrow, if we went into different endeavors, you guys have already created and established yourselves on the air where you guys tomorrow can go out and start another show or do other things, right? So my issue was how we keep getting bullied. And back to Mario's point, when we first started, we said we were going to do it right. We didn't want to wait to get big and then try to see what we have. No, we built it from the ground up right. Ownership. So we can say what the hell we want to say on this show because we own it. The thing that probably discouraged me about it was the fact that they could give a damn about Nick. Nick made them a lot of money. The fact that Nick's coming back is going to make them some more money. So if I have some equity, why didn't I negotiate to get my ownership back of the show, or at least get me some uses of the trademark? Because the first thing we did was own. Second thing we did, trademark. We own this. You wearing a shirt right now that if somebody else try to make that, Chris, we suing the hell out of them. We get to go on. We get to do a show whenever we want, wherever we want, because we own it. So, if it wasn't Dr. Hughes that told me get back out there and, use your gift, or it was Roland Martin. Roland Martin was the dude who gave me the blueprint. Big brother Roland. Roland came here for a Martin Luther King event, went golfing. He had that dream and he had that blueprint. Like Mario said, he went out and got his own network. And now Mario made a good point. Man, we need to be supporting that brother. For now, I need to donate $10, $20 a week towards this man network, because that's what we're doing next. You know what I mean? So ownership is everything. And I think that's what we lost in our community, because in Riviera Beach, at one time you go on A Street, you had the watermelon man, the collard green man, you had the black cleaners. We owned them places. And that way, when you got off work, Chris, you want to spend your dollars at one of those black things.
At Snooks.
Yeah. Okay, Chris. Listen. So I just want us to get into a position, man. Like we talked last week, we got enough black billionaires where we should have an airline, a bank, and different things. But I can rant on. Let me go to the ladies, man.
I think you're right, too. One of the things you guys mentioned that just saddened me with Nick Cannon was his position of strength. He lost that, and he came in a position of weakness. You don't call no shots like that, and I'm so disheartened. Like, I can't take you serious because the message that you preach to me, ownership, black power, all this other stuff, I saw you bootleg, and that pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie to you. So even when you said the sacrifice part, Chris, that wasn't real sacrifice, because when you want something great, you got to sacrifice great. And he should have told him to shove it, because a millionaire taught me that once you make your first million, Zay, the second million easy. So you made Wildin' Out. That's your baby. You could have got with Puffin and reincarnated it, named it whatever the heck you wanted to name it, and brought those same guys that you felt indebted to along for the ride. Y'all might not have gotten it off the top, but it's not get rich quick. It's get rich over time. And you would have amassed what you lost and more. So for that, I'm going to give you mercy, but I'm going to tell you, I'm disappointed in you. And as a brother, that hurt me. You wore the kufi or the Muslim hat, and you talk so much, so good, you don't understand your influence. And what they just saw you do, you broke that. It's a lot of young black men that you broke their confidence by them watching you get broken. And that hurt. You understand what I'm saying? Then also, I feel like this. Everybody keeps forgetting about the Dr. Sebi documentary. Because like you said, Mario, he got picked. So he ain't say nothing, but they knew what you were working on. So you can't bring something that Nipsey was talking about, because all Nipsey ever talked about was hustle and ownership. And try to say that you're gonna walk in his shoes and then don't walk in his shoes. Come on, bro. What you doing? And that's just how I felt about the situation. You didn't sacrifice enough because you didn't think that it could do it. You thought that you needed their help, and we don't, because you see what they did. They puppeted you. They didn't give you any ownership. From my understanding, he probably makes less than what he was making before. So who did you really help? You didn't show black men that you can do this without their help. That bothered me. So
I want to say one thing before we go to the next subject, because I agree with what Chris said. I just want to show the difference. So I believe in mercy, and I believe in us black men not getting beat down. But one thing I do believe in is if you sign up to do something and nobody asked you to, nobody asked Nick to be a revolutionary. Nobody asked Nick to stand up for black men. Nobody asked Nick to be the voice of black power, black unity, to be the black voice of I don't care, because Nick was getting very militant on his own. He created these shows and did all this stuff on his own. Nick said, give me this mantle. I'm ready to carry it. And then the first time for something that you signed up for, the black population didn't make you do this or request you to do this. You said, you know what? I think this is my purpose in life. Let me walk into the light. The first time it gets dimmed, you say, oh, I can't take this. Oh, no, and y'all forgive me, but it was just too hot. Bro, I don't respect that, because there's so many other people who now looking at you saying, hell no, I see what they did to Nick. I'm out.
I want no smoke.
So, like they said, it's all you hurt more than you kind of helped. Because all the black people that they believe, Wild 'N Out crew believed in Nick so much that when Viacom came to them and said, DC, y'all, keep it going, they said no.
Right.
We standing with Nick. So they did all that for nothing.
Exactly.
If you were just gonna come back, they could have kept working. That's all I'm saying. I just want to say the difference between the mercy part is because, bro, that's when it become like, bro, was it just a show? Like,
right.
Or did you really think this through and say, bro, when you start saying certain stuff, these people are gonna come and come and come. So are you willing to actually be sacrificed? Or are you just saying, take me to the cross, take me to the cross? Are you willing to go up on the cross? And I think as black men, we got to be very, very wise on what we say when we saying stuff like that, because it's people who watching us. And we don't want to set us back. We got a movement. But this was a rendition of them saying, yeah, nigga, we still got the power. Now shut up and dance.
Get in line. So that what you're saying, Mario, is exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't have mercy on the brother, but I'm just saying you let a lot of young brothers that you inspired down, and you probably let the air out of their balloon, man. So you know what I'm saying, man, just stick to your guns. You know
what butt breaking was, Chris? Butt breaking, it was a mental thing where you take the strongest slave, the person that people have some admiration or look into, and a lot of butt breaking where they would take a slave and tie him between two horses and let the horses fly apart, rip them apart. I just said it's modern day butt breaking because we took somebody who we starting to believe got some power, he got some flex, and instantly slapped them back into submission. So that was my point with him. Like Mario said, brother, you made a lot of money. You could have went to Revolt and started a whole news, Nick Cannon, whatever. Just learn from your lessons, but going back to entertain as a jester, to me, I believe that's like us right now. Somebody give us $1 million for the Black Super Friends. All right, sound good, but at the end of the day, now we don't own it. That's just me. I'm a little militant when it comes to business. I'm a corporate thug, Chris. I see the head moving, but
I mean, I understand, and I understand completely. But again, I don't want to make a correlation with buck breaking, because buck breaking was a brutal thing that was done by slave owners. to stoke fear into other slaves. I also wanted to say that we are at war, and everyone is not soldiers. Some of us, help the soldiers repair medically. Some of us, drive, sit in the headquarters and give directions or whatever. There's many ways to fight this war. I agree with you, fellas. I just how I am about publicly doing that. So, but I agree with you, fellas. I understand where you're coming from.
Oh, I appreciate it, Chris. Chris, since we're going, I try to come and always get the fans to get y'all to give some insight. Some of the best moments on this show have been those moments where I dug into that little Black Super Friends hoodie and said, Chris, tell me X, Y, Z. And he had some moments. I remember Chris was about to cry. And I remember he was crying. Now we had to start the show. Chris was crying. And we had to say, hey, go to commercial. I remember there was a moment. I might ask y'all a question now. And it'll be quick. As a man, right now where we at, what was your biggest life-changing moment? Mario, what was your biggest life-changing moment?
I think I had moved to Atlanta, and I like to think of myself as a fashionable guy. So people who knew me knew that I kept a lot of clothes and shoes and stuff like that. Had a nice car and everything. And I was in my apartment, and I remember something happened. I can't remember exactly, but I think I needed some money for something. And it was like, man, okay, I need this money. And I looked it around. And I was like, dang, so I'm gonna have to work some extra hours, and I'm gonna have to do this. And I canceled the trip to Florida that I really wanted to go on to pay this bill. And I was like, man, so as I'm working the weekend, I think it was some kind of festival or something. I seen all my people down there on Facebook having fun. I looked into, because I had a whole nother room of clothes, shoes, and all kind of stuff like that. And I went in there, and then I was like, man, I got over $10,000 to $20,000 worth of stuff in here. And I don't have an extra $1,000 to go handle this bill so much that I had to go actually work and cancel a trip to make so that I don't get put out my apartment. I can't remember what it was. Let's just say put out my apartment. It was something that I needed to do. And I said that day, and I said, this will never happen again. It'll never be another Jordan, Louis, I don't give a polo that ever come out in my life that I say, you know what? I need this more than having a stash for a rainy day and putting up money and actually diving into my financial savings. So I think from that day forward, I started taking finances seriously. I actually started saying, let me save, let me budget, let me look at how money works. Let me try studying stuff like that. So I think that was one of the best, besides just to go off what I normally would say about my daughter and my wife. I'm saying, I just want to let people know, like, that was one of the days I looked around in that closet and was like, man, I got way more liabilities than I do assets. So from that day forward, I vowed never to live a life of a consumer again, so much so that I don't have any savings. What do you got, Chris?
I hope you guys got the time, because I had to think about this one, and I'm gonna take my time with this one. Okay, so the year is 1999. I just graduated high school, and I'm living with my grandmother. I have a friend named Johnny, and Johnny was adopted, right? So I don't know this for sure. He never told me this, but in my recollection, I think that since Johnny was adopted, when he turned 18, when we graduated, the family was no longer getting a check from the state. They kicked him out. So I think Johnny was homeless. So what I would do as a friend would let Johnny come into my house at night for him to give him a place to sleep, right? My grandma found out one day, and she got mad. She kicked him out, cussed me out, and like really went in on me. Now, with not having a father and not having uncles around, my uncles that went out to make their own families and things like that, there was a lot of female energy. And I think that I got into my feminine energy, and I got like really, really mad with my grandmother, like really mad, because she kicked out my friend and she cussed me out or whatever. Because honestly, I've never had an issue with my grandmother. Like from 9th grade all the way to 12th grade, like I had no rules. Like I did whatever I wanted to do. My grandma never bothered me. I never even had to show a report card. I got good grades because I wanted to. But like that really bothered me, because I remember my grandma coming in my room when my girlfriend was there. Now, again, that my girlfriend was the same girlfriend from the 10th grade. But I remember her coming in my room and when my girlfriend was there, look in the room and just walk on to another room. And this happened multiple times. Never bothered me about it. So I really kind of like took it personal. So a month later, I move out, get my own apartment, and that was one of the biggest life lessons for me, because people say boys mature slower. No, I think maturity comes with responsibility, and that was one of the toughest years of my life. I took my brother in, my younger brother Johnny was there. I had a lease, I had to pay bills, I had to get another job. So I'm 19, working 2 jobs, just getting it. So after that lease was over, I felt to myself that, hey, look, I got enough strength to, if I could do this in Palm Beach, I could do this in Orlando. Because so I moved to Orlando. I get to Orlando. We live in a college apartment, right? Everybody, we meet different homeboys and everything. Everybody around me is going to school, going to college. Some going to UCF, some going to Valencia Community College. So obviously, I want to go to college too. So I go, this girl took me to the school. I fill out my FAFSA information. My FAFSA information, they asked me for my daddy's information. I never met my daddy, so I had to leave it blank. Then they asked me for my mother's information. I'm like, well, shit, I ain't seen my mom in a long time. My mother on drugs. I don't have her information. And even if I could find her, it wouldn't be no work information. So I left that blank. Turned it in, picked my classes. First day of school comes, I go to school, I can't get in no classes. They ain't even got me on nowhere. Go to the office, they tell me to go to the financial aid office. I get to the financial aid office, the lady say, Chris, you didn't even fill this out. So I explained her situation to her, like, hey, look, I don't have a father. I've never seen him. My mother's on drugs. She don't have a job. How am I supposed to do it? Basically, they told me they didn't care. In so many words, I got to figure this shit out. So it brought me right back to that situation with my grandmother, where I felt out of control. Like, I got no control of this. Like, someone's able to dictate my life. I tell you, the next day, when that happened to me, the next day I started selling drugs. The next day. Because I felt like I couldn't let something control me like that. So that one decision spiraled my life, changed my life forever, because I started getting into things that I shouldn't have got into. It led to going to jail. It led to just the way I treated people was different, because when you have that type of power, you treat grown men like they're nothing. Then when you have that kind of influence, you treat women like they ain't nothing. So it kind of messed up my brain, man. Like it turned me to a whole different person. And I always think back in retrospect, because it took a long time to reconstruct that guy, because that guy lasted from 20 to 30. You know what I'm saying? That was who I was. And in retrospect, I look back at it and say, what if I would have never got upset with my grandmother? What if I would have took the time to listen to my OG, who's probably thinking the best thing for me? You can't save everybody. You can't help everybody. And then there's structure in things. You listen to people. So I always go back to that point in my life and say, what if I would have never done that? What if I would have stayed? Because it wasn't like my grandmother was having, it was hard. I was able to, all I had to do was take her to the store, take her fishing when she wanted to get fish, give her like $200 for the light bill. Imagine if I would have been able to save my money and then move to Orlando, and what type of beginning I would have. Because I moved up to Orlando with $200 and a duffel bag of clothes and having to make it happen. Then the situation with this FAFSA situation, not being able to go to school, led me to, doing other things that I shouldn't have been doing. So again, like I say, that was my life-changing moment. Trying to help a friend, which I don't regret, but what if I would have never made that decision? So, for me, that's what it was. Horace, what was yours?
My life-changing moment was probably the one that made me who I am. As a kid, I was already, shy, lonely. I was a kid that was by myself. All of y'all came along later on. But as a kid, despite all those issues, every day as a child, this is no lie, it'd be in the movie. Every day as a child, when I went to sleep, I would have a dream that I was an adult and I was on stage telling jokes. I'm assuming it was jokes, but I was on stage talking to a big audience, crowd. There's an amphitheater. Every day I'm on this stage talking every night. I'm talking about since I was 5, every night till I was 19. As soon as I go to sleep, that's the first dream that I have. And one day, one of my friends, knows I'm a writer and whatnot. And he was like, "Hey, we're doing a show. We need an experienced comedian, blah, blah, blah." Most people don't know I'm a comic by trade. So he was like, "We need you. We want to put you on the show." So I was like, cool. So I helped the other artists write some of their material because they was aspiring comedians. And I went out and did the show with them. And I never went to any rehearsals or anything. I'm like, I got it. And that's a gift. I've always been able to speak with big crowds. I went out there to that stage that night and walked on stage, never looked. And the stage that I walked on that night was the stage that I had always saw in my dreams. That stage to the T. So that was probably the moment of affirmation. I was funny as hell too, but that was the moment of affirmation. What showed me, like, kind of let me know I had a gift, but also let me know that God was real, by allowing me to see how that thing played out. And also those moments are the one that kind of made me tackle me. Like on the show, we always talk about who we are. I think the other life-changing moments was me just taking time to not be an asshole and say, let me find out who Horace Towns is at the core. You know what I mean? How was, abuse or different things that I endured, how did they affect me? How are they affecting me as a parent? How are they affecting me, my ability to receive love from women? How is it affecting my ability to give love? So those two moments, that moment where I actually said I need to take this time to address who I am as a person and not just continuously just function through life like most men. We got so much stress on our back, got to pay bills, got to do this. Most men are fighting for survival every day just to keep a roof over their head and survive. So me taking time to say, let me find out who I am as a man at the core. That way I can teach my kids, my sons, like who I am, for they can better understand who they are, because they are going to be my seeds. So that's my moment, Zabo.
Well, I think that's important too, because I always talk about knowing where you came from, so you know where you're going. So that was real positive on that end. The question that you guys posed to me, I went back and forth about this several times, because as you guys say, I'm the international one. I'm the one who had probably the most instances, I feel like, in life. And that's just my personal feeling, not what you guys said, but I've gone around and I've done a lot of things. For me, everyone that knows me knows the love and adoration I have for my daughter. That for me was a life-changing moment, but not just because of her, but because of the events that followed her birth. Now, we've all spoke of our past and things like that, and everybody that knows me, I don't shy away from it. When I was young, I was a knucklehead. I was in these streets 10 toes down, and I was doing it. So like T.I. said, my phone number was well known in the hood. So what happened to me is 3 days after my daughter was born, I went to go bust a place, serve a lick, whatever you want to call it. And it was easy peasy. I'd doing it for years. It wasn't anything. And I ended up getting robbed. And it bothered me because I had over 10 years in this thing, and nobody have ever had the audacity to even try me like that. And I got tried. And I found myself, I had a Nextel flip phone. I can remember it. When I went down, the phone fell open. I had the brand new picture of my brand new baby as the screensaver. I'm looking at my child and I'm saying to myself, I'm so mad that I'm in this position. Okay. But God will have it. I'm laying on my fire. I said, I'm going to let him get what he needs, because when I get up, he's dying today. I promise you. And he got everything out of my pocket, and I just laid there and let him get it. I cooperated, but it was the one other guy that was there. He had to be a professional. He said, nah, check Buddy again. And he found it. And at that point, I said, my life is over. And I'm just saying, you big dummy. Hey, you big dummy. And I'm waiting on the pop of the pistol. And all I heard were feet scurrying away. And I think that hurt me more than them shooting me, I think. I mean, I think about it differently now as an adult, but at that point in time, my ignorance was I'd rather they shot me than just did this. You see what I'm saying? But what that led to for me was, and I have to say that was a life-changing moment for me, because I was with my child's mother probably 7 or 8 years, and she noticed the change in me. I was no longer friendly, Zay. I wanted to murk everything I saw. I didn't trust anything. So like Chris, I understand exactly what it was people who knew me who were like, you're acting strange, you're acting different. But what that brought about for me was I gave it up. I didn't give it up because I was scared. I gave it up because it was stupid to me. At this point, I amassed everything that I thought that I needed to amass at that time. I got bands put up. I'm feeling like I'm the man, but I showed that I was shown that I really wasn't anything. And my life could have been over. And what would that have done for my daughter? Nothing. And in that stint, I went from the mountain to the valley. And I remember my good dear friend Mario telling me, Zay, I've seen you make sure that a lot of people eat or ate, and I see them getting money right now, and I don't see them including you. You know, he told me, make a nigga make you not talk to him no more. And I'm like, hard, you know, I'm not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not that type of hand to mouth dude. I don't need nobody to give me nothing. He said, no, Zay, I've seen you make sure for dudes. And I'm like, you know what? That's all right, because I'm hard-headed. I don't know how to take help a lot of times. I can admit that. I said that I'm gonna figure my way out of this, and I did. And we had a friend, you know, he was still in the streets, and everybody who knows me know that I'm an avid weed smoker. So at that point in time, that was my comfort. I was gonna burn, but I didn't have any more money left. See, I remember that big Ziggy, that diamond bracelet that I had that said Ziggy. I pawned it for Pampers and to pay the daycare. And I promised I would come in to get it. I had did it so many times, she just knew. So she gave me a large amount. I never came back. And that was the end of that. But a friend of mine gave me a bag to smoke. And this was, and people don't understand how pivotal this was. I told him, I got you tomorrow, just pretty much speaking. That joker was on my doorstep the next day about them $10. And I was so mad because I've given people way more than $10 and let them owe me and come pay me when they felt like it. To after that, I borrowed money from another good friend to pay him because I knew he wasn't going to sweat me, and I paid him. And I told myself, I said, I can't be around here smoking like I'm a boss and I'm broke. And that cold turkey. And people don't believe me. Like, they saw me smoking weed one day, and the next day they tried to hand me a joint, and I told them, no, I'm straight. And they couldn't believe it. And these guys are my witness because they couldn't believe it. I stopped cold turkey for maybe 4 years, maybe, before I picked it up again. And that showed me the power of whatever your mind, you put your mind to, you can do. But in that same time frame, I went and got employed. I started working. I did very well with life insurance. I did so well that they uprooted me and moved me into the middle of bumfuck Egypt. I think I was in St. Louis, Missouri. And I was there by myself. So I had to learn how to, you know, excuse my French, but shit to get it. Because I didn't have anybody to fall back on. Right. And it showed me that, Zay, anything that you put your mind to, you can do. And I did it. Most importantly, I felt like God put my daughter in my life. He allowed that situation to happen to me because that never, ever happened to me. It never, ever happened again. And I mean, like I said, that for me was life changing because I saw that I can do whatever it is that I chose to do. And I think the last thing inside of that, because like I said, it was a chain reaction for me of events, was a lot of things that I did, I felt like I did do to appease my parents. So with my father passing, that was the last crux that I thought I learned, or that was the last little piece to my puzzle. So a lot of things I did to please him. And I never ever got to say, I'm proud of you, son, you're doing a good job, anything, right? What that showed me is that, Zay, you have to, everything that you see is not the way that it is. You have to go out and create your own, and you can, and nothing can stop you. Those were my life-changing moments. So I'm sorry when people tell me, you know, Zay, you can't do this. I laugh because you can't tell me anything. I'm going to at least try it, or I'm going to die trying. And like I said, all of those things came from that one little failed incident, because had that not happened, I believe, and had I had a boy, I think I'd be a totally different animal, because I would have taught him to do the things, the carnal things that we were taught to do as young men. I wouldn't have been this man of compassion. That's what my daughter brought about. You understand what I'm saying? And then I would have probably still been head first in the streets. If that would happen to me and I had a little boy, no doubt in my mind, I would have had to go and go murk those dudes because I got to show him that you don't play with a man like that because that's what I was taught as a young man. So I would have repeated a cycle with my son had God given me one, and he didn't. He gave me a daughter. So that's where the compassion came from. And I think that was, for me, my life-changing events. What about you guys?
Shout out to the GOD. I'm glad we're having this conversation about life. Because last show, Hardy asked the question about if we're going to be, what are we doing to secure a happy life with in a satisfying, productive relationship with a woman? You know what I'm saying? He spoke about marriage. He spoke about these things, and we answered the question. And I don't regret my answer, but I like to think about things before I answer it. I really like to think about things. I didn't say that, I struggle with, I'm a thoughtful guy, but I struggle with romance. So that's something that I thought I should have said. I also struggle with patience when it comes to women. I have like zero patience. I have zero tolerance for BS or whatever. But I did speak about being able to keep my wiener in my pants. Like I've spoken that was always been my problem. And so I asked myself, it made me ask myself, have I ever been faithful? Because at the end of the day, I'm saying that this is the issue, but I have never, ever tried. I don't know the difference because I've never, ever tried to be faithful. No relationship I ever been in, I was ever faithful. So I said, let me ask them, have they ever been faithful? Because I don't want no Colin Kaepernick. I don't want no Captain Crunch. I want real, authentic answers. Like, and all slippers count now. Everything count. If we're gonna try to do something like this, and we've never done it, or if you did it, why did you do it? So that's my question to you guys. I'm gonna go back to Zay. Have you ever been faithful, and why?
All right. So when you asked this question, you were kind of broad, but you broke it down just now. And when you asked me, have I ever been faithful? I'm thinking, hell yeah, I went to the same barber. Hell, I would drive all the way to Fort Lauderdale just to get my damn haircut. Hell yeah, I've been faithful. What do you mean? But as you talk about into like relationships, because you said that you had a problem keeping your wiener in your pants. I remember telling you on the last segment that we had that we were taught how to be men by a bunch of men that didn't know what the hell they were doing. And we exceeded their expectations because it was what we taught. So what we were taught. So no, I don't think I ever have at any point. And the crazy part about it is I didn't feel wrong about it. I felt like I was doing exactly what the big homies taught me to do. And I was proud. I wore it like a mantle or a trophy. I would walk around with it. You understand what I'm saying? But the craziest part about everything that you said, Chris, and that I know about you to be true, is, and you would always give me flack about it, I always had a girlfriend, right? And you would get mad with me because we would be where? Hanging out. And where would she be? Right with us. Because I knew then at that point that what? It was supposed to be a man and a woman, and you were supposed to be just one and one. But because we were taught to have more than one woman, I couldn't do it. So no, I couldn't be faithful. I didn't know how to. I wasn't never taught. What you got?
Let me go to Horace because he's actually been married and he's the oldest elder out of us. Have you ever been faithful, and why?
Well, no cap, I actually have, but there are two Horace Towns. There's Horace Towns at the Forum, and there's the Horace Town. So I was married, so I gotta say I was faithful, right? But then you gotta kind of analyze what's faithful. Like, did I ever smash another chick while I was married? Absolutely not. But towards the end, when I had some frustration, did I go in a mailbox or two and a DM or two? Yeah, I might have did that, not even realizing how bad that was. No harm, no foul. I'm just fishing. I'm gonna throw it back. But So faithful, I am because I've been a serial monogamous. Since I've been out of high school, I have been in nothing but long distance relationships. And I swear to God, that's why I once we was on 34, I ran wild. You get two horses. You get monogamous horse that's in a long-term relationship or married, or you get Pat Riley, who got the 5. You know about the starting 5. The reason that I'm faithful isn't because of the woman, it's because of my relationship with God. I always believe in energy. I always believe in karma. And I didn't see Negroes kill themselves. I didn't see Negroes go lose weight because they couldn't handle when that thing came back on them. So I'm not saying women don't cheat because they cheat more than we do. I just wanted to say that if had been cheated on, then at least I could walk away knowing it wasn't because of the energy that I brought to the table. So, I have been faithful, but I also been Pat Riley with the starting 5 where I tell a chick like, hey, I'm dating. I'm dating 5 people. Oh, yep. So I've been honest in that situation. So, but I do it for me and God. I don't do it for them. I'm doing it because I just don't want that karma back on me. And that's just the honest truth.
That's interesting. That's interesting. And I'm gonna go to DeMario, but we already know somewhat of his answers. I look forward to hearing them. But I also want to put another caveat in there. What is the value of being faithful to you? Like, what is the value? Like, you did it. If you did it, what did it net you? What did you gain? Enlighten us, DeMario.
You're a professional.
Turn your mic on.
When you asked this question, I said,
Oh,
you know what?
Decepticon.
This should be simple because everybody expect for me, because I'm married right now, to say, of course I've been faithful. But actually, the first time I was faithful was like the 2 relationships before I was married. I was actually sitting at one of my friend's house, and my homeboy, who is married, we was talking, and he was like, bro, when you gonna you gonna do this all your life? So I'm like, shit, as long as they make spikes that you can screw in the back of your cleats, I'm on the field, baby. Give me another jersey. I go from team to team. I do this. So, and I was just beginning to get my groove. You know what I'm saying? I had just became the manager at my company. I had just got a nice apartment all by myself. I'm telling my dog, come up. I moved into the city of Atlanta. So now the world is my oyster. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sitting here looking like that. We in the back, like at a barbecue or something. He like, so bro, you gonna do this? I said, yes. And he was like, well, I said, no, eventually, I'm no bull. I'm gonna get married. He was like, so what's gonna be the eventually? And I was like, what you mean? When I find somebody, I'm gonna get married. So he said, you think that's just how easy it is? You think that you just gonna find somebody and you're gonna get married? He like, bro, I knew you almost all your life. We've been chasing women all our life. Don't make the same mistakes I did. He like, bro, you gotta understand that you've been good at this. You practiced for this for over 30 some years. How to get women, how to court women, how to date multiple women, how to go in, how to go out of relationships, how not to be committed. You've practiced this. You've almost, I would like to say, mastered this. So how are you going to unteach yourself all of this? And furthermore, how do you know you can be faithful? Then I said, damn, how do I know? Because at that point, I had never been faithful. I hadn't even, like Zay, wanted to be faithful. I felt like I don't trust a woman as far as I could see it. The minute she hit that corner, shit, I feel that she got another dude. But I respected the game. So I wasn't busting nobody's head. I wasn't getting into arguments. I ain't had too much confusion with women. Fussing and cussing and all. Hey, bro, this is what it is. Do your thing, I'm going to do mine because I'm out here. That was my method. But then when he said that, I said, damn, I got to really see for myself, can I be faithful? So then I got into a relationship. And then the girl, I thought, like, you know what? Faithful means, I looked up, like, what's the steps of being married? Being compassionate, forgiving. I looked at all those things. You know what I'm saying? I could see people say that stuff again. So then I met a girl and I started saying, well, I think I really like her. So I'm finna start these steps now. Come to find out, the girl was definitely not for me. But I did those steps so far much that Chris can tell you, I moved to Orlando. I looked over a lot of stuff. I went to work. I didn't hang out no more. Me and her had a toxic relationship. We was arguing, didn't even speak. I was going over my homeboy house just to make sure that I could come back in the house and go to sleep without arguing with her. But I never cheated. And in that process of me never cheating, I felt so I felt so accomplished as a man. I felt like right now, yeah, I can look somebody right in their face and say, I'll marry you, and know that I can go a year or two, because that was big to me, and never cheat. In Orlando, when I had friends who stayed on both sides of the track, so I could easily cheat. I could cheat out of both sides. I had homeboys, some of my homeboys got money in Orlando. Cheating was rampant. It's easy. You know what I'm saying? It's all parts of Orlando. And I was in a bad situation. I wasn't in a good situation where this girl was doing everything for me and I was just head over heels in love. I hated being there every day, and I still didn't cheat. So I said, okay, I can do this. And then in the midst of me not cheating, some nights I had to just get closer to God because I was angry because I was like, this bitch playing with me. Then she cheated on me. When I forgave so much stuff. And then at that point, I went to a party and the girls were overflowing. So much that my homegirl was like, dang, my homegirl like you. And these were good women. And I still said, nah, I'm straight. And that moment right there, I knew, shit, I could be married. Now, I honestly can get the right woman and be the right husband. So I think that I had to learn for myself, because that was a great question Chris is asking, because I had to actually learn for myself that, nah, bro, I can actually not cheat. And I'm not going to say it was easy, but I did it. So, yes, I won the relationship.
Now,
So
you know
what's
what's
the
funny?
value? What was the value?
I'm going to tell you something.
Because I wanted marriage. I wanted marriage. I want marriage. Like, right? I wanted to be married. So I want to be a great husband. I signed up for the monogamy. So the value in it was for me is me learning that when I looked Jaleesa in her face and said, I do, and I promise you a lifetime of monogamy, being there and all that, I was not lying. I wasn't lying to myself. I proved to myself I wasn't lying to myself, and I wouldn't have to lie to her on my wedding day. That I could be truthfully and honest. Because a lot of people don't know. So they'll go to the altar and say, I do, but you really don't know. So now you're signing a contract for something that you don't even know if you can fulfill. See, when I went down the aisle, because I had already proved to myself that I could do this, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I can do this. Now it was just me doing the work to keep it tight and to keep doing it because I know it's in me to do it. I just couldn't let myself down. But I think some people get to the altar, they don't even know. And so then they run into consequences like, dang, it's still a stronghold on women. You haven't detached yourself. Like you said, you don't even know how to be in a relationship and take ups and downs and not step out. Because it's so easy to step out once you get to a certain level of man. So I told myself that no matter what, I can go now. I know I have the ability to say, if I don't sleep with Jaleesa for a week and I have to sleep in the other room, I can fix it verbally and not go outside and find love or attention somewhere else. And when I said at the altar, I knew I honestly was telling the truth. So the benefit was I knew I wasn't gonna have to lie on my wedding day because I know I honestly could do it. That was my benefit.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go to Zay, but I want to come back to you and get some tips because we us two are clueless to this. Well, Zay, what you have to add to that?
But not all the way clueless, because me and Hardy have conversations, and some of what he went through or what that conversation sparked in him is some of the things that I go through myself, and I challenge myself, and y'all be like, Zay, you crazy. Well, I don't understand. You're single. Why don't you? But that is one of my shortcomings of making sure that I ain't got to sleep with you. And the craziest part about it is I don't have a girlfriend. And that's equally harder because it's easy. It's right there at you can pretty much go and pick and say, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do whatever it is that you choose to do because you have nothing to bind you other than yourself. So something that my brother said is I gotta prove it to me. That's the value. Because a person that can lie to themselves is the most dangerous person in the world. So the people that go to the altar and say, oh, I do, but then you know that you're going to still be in inboxes, you still going to be smashing, regulars or oldies or whatever the case may be, you joking. You understand what I'm saying? So those are the things inside of myself I try to fix so that when I do say I do, because it's going to come and it's going to shock the world and I'm going to laugh at all the naysayers that said, Zay, you ain't going to do whatever, and I did it. And on top of I did it, I'm going to do it. And I feel like be the best at it because I've accomplished things within inside myself. That's going to be the value, Chris, I think. But
Horace, I want to hear from you, my brother.
No, I might be a little biased. And, I grew up with a lot of women and, I always believe in the fairy tale covenant. I always tell y'all that when I talk to women and I get to that point, I'm asking for her devotion. I need you to be sold on me. If I'm putting all this on my back, I need your devotion. I need you totally sold on me 100. But it goes back to something I've always been taught about, and that's covenant. So like Mario, when Mario went to the altar and he got married, he made a covenant with God. Hey, this is a promise to do these things. And that is something that even without marriage, I try to embrace. Like when you're a player, you know the energy coming back on you. I just got to a point where, listen, I'm trying to lessen that karma coming back on me. So when I'm dating this one woman, I'm gonna give you everything I have. Now you effed it up, cool. I can walk away stress free, but I know that I've made a covenant to be all I can be and give you the most I have, and I'm devoted to you as I want you to be devoted to me. I know that's some Tevin Campbell stuff, but one thing about me, I've been on some relationships since school, 5 year, 10 year. So I've been stuck in relationships. Now the Pat Riley years was a glorious thing. And I do miss those because I'm going back to the forum in 30 days.
But you know what, too?
See, for me,
I'm sorry.
well, man, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, sorry about that too. What you were saying is true because the thing that I took from a relationship that I got was the reciprocity. I had a chick that was giving me everything that you would want inside of a woman, right? And I couldn't reciprocate it to her because I couldn't tame the beast inside of myself. That I felt like, you know what? You got everything that you asked for and you couldn't stand up at the plate. The value part that you were talking about, Chris, that's going to be the value for me to say that, you know what? I did it. It probably took me a while. It don't matter. Me and you talk about this all the time. There's no age on marriage. It's when you're happy. So for me, what's going to be happy for me is when I know that I can do these things and everything that I tell that woman that I can do without, and I don't need to be in a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship to do it because that's just a title. That ain't nothing. That ain't got nothing to do with it. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it. So for me, it's you work out. That's going to be my workout. I'm going to get that together. That's going to be the value. I'm going to place that. I'm going to be able to reciprocate to that person. I know I got karma, but I'm going to have to leave that with God. I'm going to pray very hard. And I ain't bothered no married women. So when I get married, I don't think he's going to do that to me. And we're going to be fine.
Y'all going to be married 2030. Before 2030, y'all going to be married.
Chris,
I'm claiming it.
I want to hear what you.
Well, I don't know. I think that that's the reason why I have shied away from relationships because I was so bad in the ones that I was previously in. Like I did cheat, I did lie, I wasn't physical with no woman or nothing like that. But I was out here. I was really out here. So that's reason.
Be a professional.
Can I ask you a question, Chris?
Yes, go ahead.
Were you bad at them or did they scare you? Did you self-sabotage any of those relationships because it made you uncomfortable or it was just something you didn't want to deal with at the moment? Did the relationship scare you?
I think I'm going to go back to what Zay was saying. I didn't have a true appreciation for women like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I really did. It took me having a daughter to kind of open my eyes to certain things like that. Like I said, even with my history and illegal activity, like you get to a point where you feel like I got a pocket full of money. I'm doing this. I'm popular or whatever. I'm above you. You know what I'm saying? You get a sick mindset from that. So it was just like it wasn't them because, like I said on the last show, I've always had women to be fond of me, even love me, even when it was the hardest to love me. I done had women love me at my hardest point. So it's always I take full responsibility of it. I was just in a whole nother place. I was just a different guy. I just wasn't able to understand value when it comes to women in those situations. So I look forward to a change, but honestly, I haven't attempted to do that since then because I was really bad, and it cost me a family, it cost me a lot. So I said that I can't do that again. You know what I'm saying? I just really, really can't do that again because I may meet somebody and that may be their mama. You know what I'm saying? Like now I'm going to do this. I know how I felt about my mama, so now I'm going to do this to somebody else's mother. And it's no excuse. So.
I got a question. I want to know what it's going to take you to try. Because I know a lot of time as men, we say, yeah, I'm going to work on it. Yeah, I'm going to do this. Yeah, the next time we use those cliche terms. And it's just like right now, if I was to ask you about business, the first thing you'll tell me is, bro, you don't have tomorrow. Start at the day, just one step by step. Just go into it, bro. You got to be it. So when I'm going to always go back when men saying, hey, we going into money, we live by a different law of fearlessness. And because it goes piggyback off what Horace said. So I want to know, like, when is it going to be a time you're going to say, you know what? Because it's no time period, but when do you think that? And we don't have to answer that today because I want y'all to all think about that. But the next time we get on, I want to know what would it take for y'all to start saying, today's the day I'm walking and I'm taking my first step towards working on monogamy, like trust, love, all the steps that it takes. Well, what would it take for you? If no, you might don't know, but just think about that in the next show. We'll talk about that because I want real answers on this.
Word.
I don't think I have a problem with it. I just fire mofos quick. I'm kind of like American Idol, just psh,
Revolving door.
psh, psh. Yeah, I don't got it.
That means it got to be something that you're not seeing.
You're right.
That's what I'm saying. Like whatever it takes. If it takes, maybe you're not in the right place to see the right women that's going to intrigue you. So you're able to do this because you could be in a situation where it's so many women that's so amazing that it's hard for you to go fishing. So I want to know. I want y'all to take y'all time. I want you to know, like, what would it take for y'all to say, you know what, I'm finna get with her because I'm pretty sure we bump into beautiful women all the time. And if we don't, we got to address why we don't. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and say, this her, and I'm going to start, because she's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I'm finna start and vow monogamy. I'm going to have trust, blind, like trust, even though it's hard. And I'm going to put my best foot forward to say, you know what? I'm going to make this relationship work. And if it fails, it's not going to be because of me. So we're going to answer that because I want y'all answers on that. I want y'all to think it. Don't give me no short answer. I want that.
We need to produce our own version of The Bachelor featuring Chris Leo and the latest man, The Bachelor.
That would be counterproductive. That's like putting a crack in.
Hell no.
Don't do that.
I ain't on it, man.
Yeah, I think that in
They're putting the fox in the hen house.
Shit that they already got wrong. Because now you're gonna put the crackhead in the crack house and say just smoke one rock. Shit,
not happening.
That's gonna work.
Listen, if Flavor Flav have flavor of love,
man,
we can go and get that check. All right. Listen, guys, we ran long, so
sorry, but not sorry.
No, you got it all out. This is therapy. I'm gonna send you an invoice. I'm gonna go to Super Mario Senior on them closing comments.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all coming. I know it was a long show today, and I think sometimes in the pre-show we talk about so much stuff and go so deep into conversation that sometimes it don't spill out to the shows. And that's why I like the way these segments are going at the end when we speaking candidly and we letting y'all into the conversation that we do have behind closed doors about each other. Because iron does sharpen iron on the Black Super Friends. So I know that y'all don't think that men get in groups and try to be better, but I want to be a representation that we actually do. It don't matter if you think it, I'm telling you it because you can now see it, that we do this all the time and a lot. So I think that y'all should thank everybody on this show because right now, what you're seeing right now is a glimpse into what happened to a lot of men don't let the world see. So thank y'all for tuning in tonight and come back next Monday. And I can promise you one thing when you come back, it'll be even better than this Monday.
Exactly.
Chris, Leo.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys for showing up. We appreciate you coming every Monday. Football is over. We look forward to you spending more time with us. We appreciate that. And the $40 is always on the dresser. Now, I got a question though. I got a question for you guys. I asked this earlier today, but I want to pose this question. If you had to have brain surgery, right? You had to have brain surgery. You got one doctor who's had 10 brain surgeries. Seven of those brain surgeries were successful. The patient lived. 3 of them died. Or you got Dr. B, who had 4 brain surgeries and every one of them successful. No one died. I think every knowledgeable man would say, I want the doctor who's 100% in brain surgeries to operate on me, because he's never had a patient to die. Although the other guy had 10 surgeries and 7 of them were successful, it's still a 30% chance of your death. So if you was the guy that's going to pick Dr. B with 4 successful surgeries and no deaths, then you, my friend, think Joe Montana is the greatest quarterback ever and not Tom Brady. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Once again, you take us on a astronomical ride around the sun to come back. But that one didn't land. That shit did not land. It did not. Ladies man, 561.
Listen, I'm with Mario. I thank y'all for coming in. I know we were long. Sorry, not sorry. As he said, iron does sharpen iron. This iron does try to sharpen the individuals that tune into us on Monday nights as well. So if we refine something inside of you, you are welcome. If we open something up inside of you, you are equally welcome. Sorry about that. We just thank you guys. Appreciate you for coming out. See you next Monday. You're a professional.
Turn your mic on. You are a professional.
Listen, guys, tonight, I think everyone that tuned in tonight, as always, Snap, Crackle, and Pop. As always, we try to give you content with some transparency. I thank everyone that tuned in tonight. I swear, when you see the replays, due to some editing that I picked up along the way, Chris will be breaking down in Theo fashion. Xavier will be telling the story. I'm going to change the audio. So it's all about ratings and popcorn sound effects in the background. Oh, my God. So, hey, to everyone that tuned in, I love you guys. Later from the Huxtables.